Hey, welcome to the University Christian Ministries Campus Report. My name is Seth Greenham. I am the District Director for University Christian Ministries here in the BC and Yukon District. It's our goal to reach the 250,000 post-secondary students in BC with the gospel. We have 19 workers on 8 campuses here in British Columbia. And today in our report, we're asking this question: how is COVID affecting campus ministry? I hope you enjoy it. Hi, welcome everybody. With me today, I have several UCM campus pastors, and we're looking forward to just giving you a brief update in our COVID world. Guys, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
My name is Millie. I work at SFU as the campus director.
My name is James. I work at UBCO in Kelowna as the UCM director there as well.
For those who haven't met me, my name is Seth Greenham, and I'm the UCM District Director here for the BC and Yukon District. Guys, we want to just give our audience a little insight into campus ministry in our COVID world. And so, Millie, I thought I'd ask you, how did COVID affect students in your ministry? What was the implications for them? How did it go?
Since probably the second or third week of March, all the classes at SFU has been moved online. So basically everyone's just taking classes, like watching videos at home for their classes, doing tutorials, all that kind of thing. For some students, I know financially it's been hard because they've lost their part-time job, even co-op job in the middle of the semester, and like looking forward into summer, they even may not have a summer job. But like, thank God, like now they can get government funding. And then another thing would be family dynamics. Like I know that it can be hard for those who move out to go to university. Like it is good that they can move back home during social distancing, but at the same time, they're not used to living with their parents or their family for a prolonged period of time. So that can be like a pretty unique challenge for university students.
Yeah, no, definitely. James, how about for you?
Yeah, very similar. We spent the first couple weeks of when these protocols kicked in, we just spent the first couple weeks checking in on students and trying to call as many of our students in our ministry and asking them how they're doing. I think going online, the stress of going online was difficult for a lot of students. Their courses some of them were well organized and some of them not. And that disruption at the end of a semester was challenging for them, brought up a lot of stress and anxiety. And I would say that during the exam period too, I think for students, just being in isolation was really bad for their study habits. And I really was, compassionate for especially our students who are graduating.
Yeah.
So many students were, looking forward to celebrating the end of their school year, looking for that, being excited about looking for that first job. And that's, for a lot of them, that's not happening. So yeah, it's affected university students tremendously.
Yeah. Talk to us a little bit about the challenges of online ministry. I know both of you guys sort of tried to transition midstream into online ministry. Tell us a little bit about what that looks like.
Video calls and a lot of Zoom. We moved all our small groups in our one-on-one discipleship meetings online. So just, always like watching the screen. That's what ministry looks like right now for us. I know students are really missing their friends. When we did this social on Zoom just to play games online a month ago, more than half of the students in the ministry showed up to that call, and they were just like so stoked to see each other. I think right now as we move forward, we do need to be more creative. But social distancing weirdly has actually made our summer ministry more active than usual, because now everyone can just join a small group or go to a social online. So this is pretty different.
Yeah, no, that's good. How about for you, James?
Yeah, in the same way for us, we had to figure it out. And honestly, every week, the first week we made a plan and we did an online live stream to kind of close up our last worship gathering of the year. And then the next week we thought, well, we'll just personally check in with students. And it was a lot of phone calls and starting to do Zoom calls. But then again, the next week we were like, well, what should we do? What do students need? And normally we shut down all of our gatherings and events during exam time. But we started to sense the pulse of students about 3 weeks in, of just their need for connection, their need to be encouraged in their faith, and just even how they're doing, emotionally and mentally. And so we decided, what, we're going to have a response. And over the month of April, we decided to set up daily activities that students could connect with. So on Mondays, we did a lunch hour hangout where they could just come on Zoom and eat their lunch and just see each other. And that was probably one of our most popular things. No expectation, no, not much requirement, but just hang out. We started a weekly prayer meeting, which for us, prayer meetings have always been difficult on campus. Finding times that student schedules could meet and overlap is really difficult. But because through this medium, that actually was a silver lining. It made it really easy for students. And we committed to 30 minutes, start to finish. We'll end it in 30 minutes, get back to studying. And so students joined us for that. And then just similarly as SFU there, we did some games nights just so that students could connect, using Jackbox and Zoom and, some of those types of tools.
Mm. No, that's great. Why don't we, as we move towards wrapping up here, maybe you can share us a story of encouragement of what God's doing on the campus among young adults. We hear all kinds of negative stats all the time, but as you guys know, God is moving on our campuses. So why don't you share us a story?
Sure. There are actually like a few amazing stories in the ministry at SFU this spring. We have quite a few students make the decision to follow Jesus. I can share the story about Janet. Even though she was only exploring her faith in January, but she decided to go to our provincial UCM retreat. Through this retreat, she felt God welcoming her to build a relationship with Him and to surrender it all to Him. So then she joined a small group for the very first time to study the scripture and pray with other UCM students. Her small group leaders, Caroline and Fatima, really helped her in her faith journey. They were there to answer any questions, hear if she has any concern and keep her accountable. They have such a positive influence on Janet that she's now considering becoming a small group leader herself this fall. So it is just amazing to witness God's love for the lost and the power of discipleship on campus.
Yeah, it's always great when we have disciples who make disciples who make disciples. So
yes,
it's great.
Definitely.
How about for you, James?
Yeah, I was just thinking about in terms of this last month. I was asking students, how it's been and what our response has helped them with. And one thing we realize is that we reach students who are not from Kelowna. About 75% of UBCO students are not from Kelowna, and which means during this period of time when exams finish, they disperse and they go across the province to the Lower Mainland, to other provinces, and maybe across the world. And one of the encouraging things that's happened over the last couple of weeks is that we've continued to gather even though they've scattered. Some students have told me that they've continued to go to their Kelowna home church during this gap period of time. And then we've even had alumni jump on calls in order to check in and say hello. And I had one student text me today, and I just said, "Hey, how has it been for the last month? How has UCM helped you?" And she told me, she said, honestly, it's kept me sane. And this girl came to every one of our events throughout the whole week, and we started noticing that she was at every event. And she said, I just needed that connection point to be encouraged in my faith and to know that God still has a plan in the midst of all this change. So.
Well, thank you guys. Those are great stories. And I just really appreciate your work on our campus. You guys have worked faithfully for many years. And so appreciate you sharing with us, giving us some insight into your work and the needs on campus. God bless and thanks. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.